Embracing the Unknown, Turning Fear into Freedom. Written by Ronnie Rowland. Published by Growth Literacy Lounge. What if fear isn't meant to stop you, but to guide you? What if everything you've been avoiding, the uncertainty, the risk, the discomfort, is actually the key to your greatest freedom? Most people spend their lives trying to outrun fear. They wait for certainty before they make a move. They seek guarantees before they take a risk. They cling to comfort, hoping to avoid failure, rejection, or regret. But the truth is, nothing keeps you more stuck than the belief that you need to be sure before you begin. Fear isn't a barrier, it's a doorway. The only way to discover what's on the other side is to step through it. The unknown can feel terrifying, but it's also where life expands. Growth does not happen in places that feel familiar. Transformation does not come from staying still. Every breakthrough, every new opportunity, every version of yourself that you haven't yet met is waiting beyond the limits of what you already know. The people who create extraordinary lives aren't the ones who never feel fear. They are the ones who feel it and move forward anyway. This book is about shifting your relationship with the unknown. It's about learning to walk with fear rather than letting it hold you back. It's about trusting yourself, even when the path ahead is unclear. You will learn how to navigate uncertainty with confidence, take bold action before you feel ready, and break free from the limits of doubt. Most importantly, you will realize that fear is not a stop sign, it's an invitation. Freedom isn't found in certainty, it's found in the willingness to embrace what's uncertain. The question is not whether you will face the unknown, the question is whether you will let it keep you from the life that's waiting for you. The path is there. The moment is now. Step forward. Chapter 1. The Myth of Certainty. Life teaches us to seek certainty. From a young age, we are conditioned to follow rules, rely on plans, and expect predictable outcomes. Society rewards stability, and anything outside of that structure is labeled risky or reckless. But certainty is an illusion. The people who achieve the most in life, who experience the greatest transformations, are not the ones who cling to guarantees. They are the ones who move forward despite uncertainty, trusting that the path will reveal itself as they walk it. The need for certainty is deeply wired into the human mind. It offers a sense of security, a belief that if we make the right choices we can avoid failure, pain, or regret. But reality does not work that way. Even the most carefully planned life can unravel in unexpected ways. People lose jobs, relationships end, markets crash, and unexpected events disrupt the safest of plans. Certainty, then, is not a guarantee of security. It is merely a comforting illusion that prevents many from taking the necessary risks to live a life of meaning. The paradox of certainty is that the more we chase it, the more we limit ourselves. A life spent avoiding the unknown is a life half-lived. Those who refuse to step outside their comfort zone find themselves stuck in repetitive cycles, never experiencing the growth that uncertainty offers. The unknown is not something to fear but to embrace. It is the space where possibilities exist, where new paths open, and where transformation happens. Every great innovator, leader, and trailblazer has understood this truth. They did not wait for certainty, they moved forward in spite of its absence. Consider a time in your life when you hesitated to take action because you were unsure of the outcome. Perhaps it was a career move, a creative pursuit, or a relationship decision. You likely wanted a guarantee that things would work out before committing. But how often do those guarantees ever come? The truth is, clarity is often found in action, not before it. Waiting for certainty is a form of procrastination, a delay tactic disguised as rational thinking. Letting go of the need for certainty requires a shift in mindset. It means accepting that not knowing the future does not mean failure. It means understanding that the unknown holds opportunities that cannot be seen from a place of fear. Instead of waiting for the perfect plan, take the first step with faith. The greatest journeys begin not with complete knowledge but with the willingness to start. A key part of embracing uncertainty is learning to trust yourself. When you have confidence in your ability to adapt, the unknown becomes less intimidating. You may not always know what is ahead, but you can trust that you will figure it out as you go. This shift in thinking transforms fear into possibility. Instead of seeing the unknown as a void, see it as a canvas on which you can create your own path. Many people never chase their dreams because they are waiting for the right moment. But there is no right moment. The right moment is the one you choose. Success is not about certainty, it is about commitment. The most fulfilled individuals do not have all the answers, but they have the courage to move forward despite their doubts. They embrace uncertainty as a necessary part of growth. Life is not a perfectly mapped out journey. It is a series of choices, risks, and discoveries. Those who demand certainty before taking action often find themselves stuck in place, watching others move forward. The truth is, the unknown will always exist. The question is not whether you will face it, but whether you will let it stop you. The path is not waiting for you to have all the answers. It is waiting for you to take the first step. Chapter 2. Listening to your inner compass. Deep within you, there is a voice that knows the way. It is not the voice of fear, not the voice of doubt, and certainly not the voice of others. It is the voice of your inner compass, your intuition, the quiet knowing that nudges you in the right direction, even when logic and reason cannot explain why. The problem is that most people have learned to silence it. Over time, they have been conditioned to trust external sources more than their own instincts. They seek approval, validation, and guidance from the outside world, forgetting that the most accurate answers often come from within. Your intuition is not some mystical force. It is the result of your experiences, emotions, and subconscious observations. It is the part of you that processes information beyond what your conscious mind can grasp. It is the feeling that something is off before you have proof. It is the pull toward a decision that does not yet make sense. The more you listen to this voice, the clearer it becomes. But the more you ignore it, the quieter it gets. Over time, many people lose touch with their intuition, drowning it in logic, fear, and societal expectations. Reconnecting with your inner compass requires stillness. In a world full of distractions, constant noise, and external pressure, it is easy to be influenced by everything but yourself. Most people never take the time to sit in silence and ask themselves what they truly want. They are too busy keeping up with expectations, meeting demands, and following paths dictated by others. But your path is yours alone, and no one else can tell you where it leads. If you never pause to listen, you risk living a life that is not truly yours. There is a difference between fear and intuition. Fear screams, while intuition whispers. Fear is loud, urgent, and desperate to keep you safe, even at the cost of your growth. It tells you to stay where it is comfortable, to avoid risks, and to cling to the familiar. Intuition, on the other hand, is calm. It does not beg for attention, it simply exists. It does not rush or panic, it simply knows. The challenge is learning to distinguish between the two. When faced with a decision, ask yourself whether you are hesitating out of fear, or if something deeper is signaling caution. Fear seeks to protect, but intuition seeks to guide. Learning to trust yourself starts with small choices. Every day you are faced with decisions, some big, some small. Instead of immediately looking for external input, try asking yourself first. When something feels right, lean into it. When something feels off, do not dismiss that feeling just because you cannot explain it. The more you practice listening to your intuition, the stronger it becomes. Confidence is not built by always having the right answer, it is built by trusting yourself enough to act, even without certainty. Many people have moments when they knew something deep inside but ignored it. They stayed in relationships they knew were wrong, took jobs that did not align with them, or ignored opportunities that excited them. Looking back, they realized their intuition was trying to warn or guide them. The lesson is not in regret but in learning to listen sooner. The next time you feel that quiet knowing inside you, do not push it away. Honor it. Trust that it is leading you somewhere important, even if you cannot yet see where. The more you listen to your inner compass, the more aligned your life becomes. Instead of moving based on fear, external expectations, or obligation, you begin moving based on what is truly right for you. This does not mean there will not be challenges. It does not mean everything will be easy. But it does mean that your decisions will be yours, and that is the foundation of true fulfillment. No one else can walk your path. No one else has your exact experiences, emotions, and dreams. The only way to find where you are meant to go is to trust yourself enough to follow the signs. Chapter 3. Taking the first step without a map. Most people wait. They wait for the right time, the perfect plan, the moment when all the uncertainty disappears. But that moment never comes. The truth is, the first step is always taken without a map. It is taken in the midst of doubt, fear, and unanswered questions. Those who move forward in life are not the ones who had all the answers before they began. They are the ones who trusted themselves enough to start despite not knowing where the road would lead. The illusion of needing a plan keeps people stuck. They believe that if they cannot see the entire path, they should not begin the journey. But no great achievement was ever built on certainty. The artist does not know exactly how the painting will turn out before they begin. The entrepreneur does not have a guarantee of success before they take the risk. The explorer does not see the entire map before setting sail. They move forward anyway, trusting that clarity will come through action. Overthinking is the enemy of progress. The mind creates endless what-ifs, analyzing every possible outcome, searching for a guarantee of success. But action brings clarity in a way that thought alone never can. When you take a step, no matter how small, you gain information. You see what works and what does not. You learn what excites you and what drains you. You adapt, adjust, and refine your path as you go. Waiting for certainty is like standing at the shore, hoping the entire ocean will become visible before you set sail. The only way to see more of the horizon is to start moving toward it. Fear of failure keeps people from beginning. They believe that if they make a mistake, it will mean they were wrong, that they were not meant for the path they chose. But failure is not a signal to stop. It is a sign that you are learning. Every step forward, even the missteps, brings growth. The first attempt will rarely be perfect. The first chapter of a book, the first workout at the gym, the first day of a new job, these are never the best. But they are necessary. Progress is not made by waiting until you are ready. It is made by beginning before you are. Taking the first step is an act of trust. It is trusting that even if the road ahead is unclear, you will figure it out as you go. It is trusting that you are capable of handling whatever comes next. It is trusting that even if you stumble, you will stand back up. Those who achieve their goals are not the ones who never failed. They are the ones who refused to let failure stop them. They moved forward, step by step, even when they doubted themselves. Momentum builds through movement. The hardest part of any journey is the beginning. The moment before you take action feels overwhelming, but once you begin, everything changes. The unknown starts to feel familiar. The impossible begins to look possible. Confidence is not something you are given before you start. It is something you build through action. Each step reinforces the belief that you are capable. Each challenge overcome strengthens your trust in yourself. There will never be a perfect time. There will never be absolute certainty. There will always be reasons to wait, reasons to hesitate, reasons to stay where it is safe. But those who create the life they want are the ones who step forward despite the uncertainty. They take the leap, not because they are fearless, but because they know that staying still is not an option. The path is not waiting for you to find all the answers. It is waiting for you to take the first step. Once you do, the road ahead will begin to unfold in ways you never imagined. Chapter 4. Making Peace with Fear. Fear is the invisible wall standing between you and the life you want. It whispers doubts, magnifies risks, and convinces you to stay where it feels safe. But safety is not the same as fulfillment. Fear is not the enemy. It is a natural response, a survival mechanism designed to keep you from harm. The problem is that fear does not distinguish between real danger and imagined threats. It reacts the same way to a life-changing opportunity as it does to a genuine threat. Learning to make peace with fear is essential if you want to move forward. Most people see fear as a stop sign. They assume that if they feel uncertain, hesitant, or afraid, it must mean they are not ready. But fear does not mean stop. It often means go. It signals that you are stepping beyond your comfort zone, moving into the unknown where growth happens. The difference between those who stay stuck and those who succeed is not the absence of fear. It is the ability to move forward despite it. Every person who has ever done something significant has felt afraid. The only difference is that they did not let fear decide for them. Fear thrives in the unknown. It fills the gaps with worst-case scenarios, creating obstacles that do not exist. The mind tries to predict everything that could go wrong, often ignoring what could go right. But the unknown is not a place to fear. It is a place of possibility. When you recognize that fear is just a response to uncertainty, you take away its power. Instead of seeing fear as a warning to turn back, see it as proof that you are pushing boundaries. If you never feel fear, it means you are not challenging yourself enough. The key to making peace with fear is understanding it. Fear is not a signal that something is impossible. It is simply a sign that something is unfamiliar. The first time you try anything new, fear will show up. The first time you speak in public, take a risk, or step into a new role, fear will be there. But the more you do it, the less power fear has. What was once terrifying becomes normal. What once seemed impossible becomes just another part of your life. Fear loses its grip when you expose yourself to the things it tries to keep you from. Most fears are not real dangers. They are just thoughts, stories the mind creates to keep you from stepping into the unknown. If you analyze the fears holding you back, you will see that most of them are not based on facts. They are based on assumptions, past experiences, or the fear of judgment. What if it all goes wrong? What if they judge you? What if you fall short? Fear will always flood your mind with these questions, convincing you that uncertainty is a danger. But fear is not truth, it is just a voice trying to keep you small. The real question is, what if it all goes right? What if this risk opens doors you never imagined? What if the very thing you're afraid of is actually the key to everything you've been searching for? Courage is not the absence of fear. It is action despite fear. If you wait until fear disappears, you will wait forever. The only way to lessen fear is to face it. The more you take action, the more you prove to yourself that fear is not in control. Each step forward weakens its hold. Confidence is not built by eliminating fear. It is built by walking alongside it. Fear will never fully go away, but it does not have to control you. It will always whisper doubts, try to keep you small, and remind you of every possible failure. But you get to decide whether you listen. The unknown is where growth happens, where transformation begins. Fear is only as powerful as you allow it to be. The moment you stop letting fear dictate your choices is the moment you reclaim your life. Move forward, not because you are fearless, but because you refuse to let fear hold you back. Chapter 5. Breaking free from external validation. From childhood, you were taught to seek approval. You learned that gold stars, good grades, and praise from others meant you were doing something right. Over time, this conditioning became a habit. You started measuring your worth by how others perceived you. You made decisions based on what was expected, rather than what truly felt right. But living for external validation is a trap. It keeps you from listening to yourself. It makes you dependent on opinions that shift like the wind. The more you seek approval, the less control you have over your own life. External validation feels safe. It reassures you that you are on the right path, but it comes at a cost. If you need approval to feel confident, then rejection will make you feel worthless. If you rely on others to validate your choices, you will always be at their mercy. No matter what you do, not everyone will agree with you. Trying to please everyone is an impossible task. The more you chase acceptance, the further you drift from your true self. The need for validation is rooted in fear. Fear of rejection, fear of standing alone, fear of making the wrong choice. It is easier to follow the crowd than to forge your own path. It is easier to fit in than to risk being misunderstood. But the cost of belonging at the expense of yourself is too high. When you live for approval, you silence your own voice. You ignore your instincts. You let the expectations of others dictate your direction. True freedom comes when you stop needing permission to be yourself. You do not have to explain your dreams to those who do not understand them. You do not need approval to follow your intuition. You do not have to justify your choices to people who will never walk in your shoes. The only validation that matters is your own. When you trust yourself, the opinions of others lose their power. Letting go of external validation does not mean rejecting feedback. It does not mean ignoring the thoughts of those who care about you. But there is a difference between listening to guidance and surrendering your decisions. Take advice, but do not let it override your inner knowing. Learn from others, but do not let them decide your path. Respect opinions, but do not seek permission to be who you are. Breaking free from validation starts with small choices. Say no when something does not align with you, even if it disappoints someone. Speak your mind, even if your voice shakes. Choose what feels right, even if others do not understand. The more you trust yourself, the stronger you become. Confidence is not built by making perfect choices. It is built by making your own choices. People will judge you no matter what you do. Some will disapprove of your choices. Some will misunderstand your path. Some will try to impose their own fears on you. But their opinions are not your responsibility. You are not here to live according to someone else's script. You are here to walk your own path. The truth is, people who matter will respect you more when you stand firm in your choices. Those who genuinely support you will admire your courage, and those who judge you were never meant to walk alongside you. You do not need everyone's approval to be worthy. You do not need validation to be enough. You already are. The moment you stop looking outside yourself for permission is the moment you become free. The fear of rejection fades. The weight of expectation lifts. The voice inside you grows louder. Trust it. Approve of yourself, and the rest will follow. Chapter 6. Navigating Uncertainty with Confidence. Uncertainty is an unavoidable part of life. No matter how much you prepare, plan, or analyze, there will always be unknowns. Most people fear uncertainty because it feels like losing control. They want guarantees, predictable outcomes, and step-by-step instructions. But life does not work that way. The most successful and fulfilled people are not those who avoid uncertainty, but those who learn to navigate it with confidence. They understand that certainty is not a requirement for progress. Confidence in uncertainty is not about knowing exactly what will happen. It is about trusting that whatever happens, you will handle it. It is about shifting your focus from needing guarantees to believing in your ability to adapt. When you embrace this mindset, uncertainty stops feeling like chaos and starts feeling like possibility. It becomes an open space where new opportunities can emerge. Instead of seeing uncertainty as something to fear, see it as proof that you are stepping into something new. Most people avoid uncertainty by staying in their comfort zones. They choose the familiar, even if it makes them unhappy, because at least it feels predictable. But comfort does not lead to growth. The more you resist uncertainty, the more you limit yourself. The more you avoid risks, the more you stay stuck. Every great opportunity, every major transformation, comes with some level of the unknown. If you wait for absolute certainty, you will wait forever. The key to navigating uncertainty is learning to be comfortable with discomfort. You do not have to eliminate fear to move forward. You simply have to stop letting it control you. Confidence is not about removing doubt but acting despite it. It is the decision to move forward even when the path is unclear. The first step is always the hardest, but once you take it, momentum builds. What once felt overwhelming begins to feel manageable. One of the greatest tools for handling uncertainty is focusing on what you can control. When faced with the unknown, it is easy to spiral into worst-case scenarios. The mind tries to predict every possible outcome, creating unnecessary stress. Instead of worrying about what you cannot change, shift your focus. Ask yourself, what action can I take right now? What is within my power at this moment? Even the smallest step forward gives you a sense of control. Another way to build confidence in uncertainty is to look at your past. Think of the challenges you have already overcome. There were times in your life when you faced the unknown and found your way through. You adapted, learned, and grew stronger. Remind yourself that you have already handled uncertainty before, and you will handle it again. Your past resilience is proof that you are capable of facing whatever comes next. Uncertainty often feels overwhelming because we assume we need to have everything figured out at once, but no one has all the answers from the beginning. The best way to move forward is to break things down into small, manageable steps. Instead of trying to predict the entire journey, focus on the next right move. Progress happens one step at a time, not in giant leaps. Learning to trust yourself in uncertainty is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. It is the foundation of confidence, resilience, and personal growth. When you stop resisting the unknown, you free yourself from unnecessary stress. You stop waiting for perfect conditions and start creating your own path. The ability to navigate uncertainty with confidence sets you apart. It allows you to embrace change instead of fearing it. Life will always be uncertain, but that does not mean you have to live in fear. Trust yourself to handle what comes. Believe in your ability to adapt, to grow, and to rise to the challenge. The unknown is not the enemy. It is where new possibilities begin. The question is not whether you will face uncertainty. The question is whether you will let it stop you. Move forward with confidence, and the path will reveal itself. Chapter 7. The Role of Failure in Finding Your Path. Failure is one of the greatest teachers you will ever have. It is also one of the most feared experiences in life. From a young age, you were taught that failure is something to avoid. You learned that mistakes were signs of weakness, that falling short meant you were not good enough. But this belief is wrong. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the journey to success. Every person who has ever accomplished anything meaningful has faced failure. The difference is that they did not let it stop them. They used it to learn, to grow, and to refine their path. Most people fear failure because they believe it defines them. They see a setback as proof that they are incapable. They take mistakes personally, as if one misstep means they are doomed to fail forever. But failure is not a reflection of who you are. It is simply feedback. It is a signal that something needs to change, that a different approach is necessary. If you view failure as a dead end, you will remain stuck. If you view it as a lesson, you will keep moving forward. Think about the most successful people in history. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. J.K. Rowling was rejected by multiple publishers before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team before becoming one of the greatest athletes of all time. These people did not let failure define them. They used it as fuel. They understood that every failure brought them one step closer to success. The way you respond to failure determines your future. Some people let it break them. They give up the moment they experience a setback, believing it means they are not meant for success. Others use failure as motivation. They analyze what went wrong, make adjustments, and try again. The difference between those who achieve their dreams and those who do not is not talent, luck, or intelligence. It is resilience. It is the ability to keep going even when things do not go as planned. The key to handling failure is to reframe it. Instead of seeing it as an ending, see it as part of the process. When something does not work out, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What adjustments can I make? How can I use this experience to grow? Every failure carries a lesson, but only if you are willing to look for it. The most successful people are not those who avoid failure but those who use it wisely. Another important step is to separate failure from self-worth. Just because something did not work does not mean you are a failure. You are not your mistakes. You are not your setbacks. Failure is an event, not an identity. The more you internalize this, the easier it becomes to take risks and move forward without fear. If you never fail, it means you are not pushing yourself enough. Staying in your comfort zone may feel safe, but it also means you are not growing. Failure is a sign that you are trying, that you are stretching beyond what is easy. It is proof that you are in motion. Do not fear it. Embrace it. The path to success is not a straight line. It is filled with twists, turns, and unexpected obstacles. Every failure, every misstep, every setback is shaping you. They are refining your skills, strengthening your mindset, and preparing you for what comes next. The only true failure is giving up. As long as you keep going, you are still in the game. So stumble. Stumble often. Stumble forward. Every misstep brings you closer to where you're meant to be. Trust that each lesson is shaping you, refining you, preparing you. Keep going, keep evolving, keep rising. Your journey is unfolding exactly as it's meant to, one step at a time. Chapter 8. Trusting the process when nothing makes sense. There will be times in your life when nothing seems to be working. You will feel lost, uncertain, and frustrated. You will question if you are on the right path, or if you should turn back. This is where most people give up. They assume that because things are not falling into place immediately, they are making the wrong choices. But growth is not always visible in the moment. Just because you cannot see the results yet does not mean the process is not working. The key is learning to trust the process even when nothing makes sense. Trusting the process means understanding that life does not unfold on your timeline. You cannot always predict how things will work out or when they will come together. But if you keep moving forward, if you stay committed to your path, the pieces will fall into place in ways you never expected. The challenge is having faith in the unseen. It is easy to trust when everything is going well. It is much harder to trust when obstacles arise and doubts creep in. But those who succeed are the ones who continue even when the path is unclear. Most people want immediate results. They want to see progress right away. When they do not, they assume they are failing. But real change takes time. A seed does not sprout the moment it is planted. It spends weeks underground, growing roots, strengthening itself before it ever breaks through the surface. Just because you cannot see growth does not mean it is not happening. Your efforts are working, even if the results are not yet visible. One of the biggest mistakes people make is abandoning the process too soon. They quit just before things start to shift. They walk away when the breakthrough is just around the corner. The truth is, most success stories are built on persistence. The difference between those who make it and those who do not is not talent or luck. It is the ability to keep going when most people would stop. Every challenge you face is shaping you. Every setback is teaching you something. The path may not look how you expected, but that does not mean it is wrong. Doubt will always try to convince you to give up. It will tell you that you are wasting your time, that you should take an easier path, that you are not good enough. But doubt is not the truth. It is just fear disguised as logic. The only way to silence it is to keep moving. The more you prove to yourself that you can handle uncertainty, the less power doubt has over you. Patience is a crucial part of trusting the process. The greatest rewards come to those who can delay gratification, who can stay committed even when results are not immediate. If you want to build something meaningful, you must be willing to endure the in-between moments, the times when things feel stagnant. These moments are not wasted. They are preparing you for what comes next. Letting go of control is another important step. You cannot force things to happen exactly when and how you want. Sometimes the best opportunities come from detours. Sometimes, what looks like a setback is actually setting you up for something greater. Trust that the process is guiding you, even when it does not look like it. The unknown will always be part of the journey. The sooner you embrace it, the easier it becomes to move forward. Trust yourself. Trust that every step, every challenge, every delay is serving a purpose. Keep showing up. Keep putting in the work. The results will come, even if they do not come in the way you expected. The process is unfolding exactly as it should. Stay the course. The path will reveal itself in time. Chapter 9. Embracing the power of change. Change is inevitable. No matter how much you try to resist it, life will always move forward. Some people fight against change, holding on to what is familiar, even when it no longer serves them. Others learn to embrace it, understanding that every transition carries the potential for growth. The way you respond to change determines whether you evolve or remain stuck. When you stop fearing change and start seeing it as an opportunity, you unlock a new level of freedom. Most people associate change with loss. They focus on what they have to leave behind rather than what they might gain. This is why so many resist it. They cling to jobs, relationships, and routines that feel safe, even when they no longer bring fulfillment. But staying the same is not truly safe. It is a slow decline into stagnation. Growth and comfort cannot coexist. To become who you are meant to be, you must be willing to let go of what no longer aligns with you. Change is uncomfortable because it disrupts the known. It forces you to adapt, to question, to rebuild. It brings uncertainty, and uncertainty triggers fear. But fear is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that something important is happening. The key is to recognize that discomfort is temporary, but the rewards of change are lasting. If you avoid change, you avoid progress. If you embrace it, you open yourself to possibilities that would never exist if you stayed in place. One of the biggest lies about change is that you need to feel ready before you begin. The truth, you almost never do. Most people wait for the perfect timing, the perfect roadmap, the perfect surge of confidence. But waiting doesn't create change. Action does. But change does not wait. The best way to prepare for it is to step into it. The more you take action, the more confident you become. You do not need to have everything figured out. You just need to trust that you will handle what comes next. Resistance to change often comes from attachment. You become attached to a certain identity, a certain lifestyle, a certain future you imagine for yourself. But life is not meant to be lived according to a fixed script. It is meant to evolve. If you hold on too tightly to how things are supposed to be, you miss the opportunities unfolding in front of you. Letting go is not a loss. It is making space for something new. The ability to embrace change is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. It allows you to move through life with resilience instead of fear. It gives you the courage to pursue what excites you instead of settling for what is comfortable. It helps you trust that even when things fall apart, they are often falling into place. If you look back on your life, you will see that some of your greatest growth came from change. The moments that felt like endings were actually beginnings. The times you were forced to adapt led to new strengths, new insights, and new paths you never expected. The same will be true for the changes you face now. Instead of resisting change, lean into it. Ask yourself, what is this transition teaching me? What new doors might this be opening? How can I use this experience to become stronger? Shifting your mindset from fear to curiosity transforms how you experience change. It no longer feels like something happening to you. It becomes something happening for you. The unknown will always exist, but that is not a reason to stay the same. Growth requires movement. Fulfillment requires risk. Change is not your enemy, it is your greatest ally. Trust that you are capable of handling whatever comes next. Let go of what no longer serves you, step into the unknown, and embrace the power of change. The future is waiting. All you have to do is move forward. Chapter 10. Aligning with your true path. There comes a point in life when you realize that following someone else's path will never lead you to fulfillment. You may have spent years doing what was expected, chasing goals that were never truly yours. But something feels off. No matter how much success you achieve, there is an emptiness that lingers. This is a sign that you are out of alignment with your true path. The only way to find lasting fulfillment is to align your life with who you really are, not who the world expects you to be. Alignment does not mean everything in your life is perfect. It does not mean you have no struggles or obstacles. It means that the choices you make are rooted in authenticity. It means your actions reflect your values, your passions, and your deepest desires. When you are aligned, life flows more naturally. You experience greater clarity, deeper joy, and a sense of purpose that is not dependent on external success. Many people struggle to find their path because they are looking in the wrong places. They search for answers in societal expectations, in the opinions of others, in external achievements. But your path is not something you find outside of yourself. It is something you uncover within. It is the quiet pull toward the things that light you up, the activities that make time disappear, the goals that excite you even if they scare you. The more you listen to these inner signals, the clearer your direction becomes. One of the biggest barriers to alignment is fear. Fear of making the wrong choice, fear of judgment, fear of failing. But the real failure is ignoring what calls to you. The real mistake is staying on a path that does not fulfill you. No one else can decide what is right for you. No one else will live with the consequences of your choices. The more you let fear dictate your direction, the further you drift from who you are meant to be. Aligning with your true path requires self-awareness. It means asking yourself hard questions and being honest about the answers. What do you truly want? Not what do you think you should want? What are you willing to pursue, even if it does not come with approval? What would you do if you stopped worrying about what others think? These answers may not come immediately, but they will surface if you are willing to listen. Sometimes alignment requires letting go. Letting go of paths that no longer serve you. Letting go of identities that are not truly yours. Letting go of relationships, jobs, or commitments that pull you away from your purpose. This is not always easy, but it is necessary. Every time you let go of what is not meant for you, you make space for what is. Trust that the right path will not require you to sacrifice your true self. Aligning with your path does not mean you will never have doubts. It does not mean you will never question yourself. But when you are aligned, even challenges feel meaningful. Even struggles have purpose. You no longer feel like you are forcing yourself into a life that does not fit. You feel like you are living in a way that is real, that is true, that is yours. Your true path is waiting for you. It always has been. It does not require permission. It does not require validation. It only requires that you trust yourself enough to follow it. The world does not need another person playing a role they were never meant to play. The world needs you to be fully yourself. Step into alignment, not because it is easy, but because it is the only way to live a life that is truly yours. No one else can decide what is right for you. No one else will live with the consequences of your choices. The more you let fear dictate your direction, the further you drift from who you are meant to be. Aligning with your true path requires self-awareness. It means asking yourself hard questions and being honest about the answers. What do you truly want? Not what do you think you should want? What are you willing to pursue, even if it does not come with approval? What would you do if you stopped worrying about what others think? These answers may not come immediately, but they will surface if you are willing to listen. Sometimes alignment requires letting go. Letting go of paths that no longer serve you. Letting go of identities that are not truly yours. Letting go of relationships, jobs, or commitments that pull you away from your purpose. This is not always easy, but it is necessary. Every time you let go of what is not meant for you, you make space for what is. Trust that the right path will not require you to sacrifice your true self. Aligning with your path does not mean you will never have doubts. It does not mean you will never question yourself. But when you are aligned, even challenges feel meaningful. Even struggles have purpose. You no longer feel like you are forcing yourself into a life that does not fit. You feel like you are living in a way that is real, that is true, that is yours. Your true path is waiting for you. It always has been. It does not require permission. It does not require validation. It only requires that you trust yourself enough to follow it. The world does not need another person playing a role they were never meant to play. The world needs you to be fully yourself. Step into alignment, not because it is easy, but because it is the only way to live a life that is truly yours. Chapter 11. Expanding your comfort zone. Growth does not happen in comfort. The life you want, the experiences you dream of, and the person you are meant to become all exist beyond what feels safe and familiar. The reason so many people stay stuck is that they are unwilling to push past their limits. They believe that if something is uncomfortable, it is not meant for them. But discomfort is not a signal to stop. It is a sign that you are growing. If you want to reach your full potential, you must be willing to expand your comfort zone. The comfort zone feels safe because it is predictable. It is a space where you know what to expect, where you feel in control. But it is also a space where nothing new happens. If you do what you have always done, you will get what you have always gotten. The people who achieve the most in life are not the ones who never feel fear. They are the ones who step into discomfort again and again, until what once seemed impossible becomes second nature. Expanding your comfort zone does not mean making reckless decisions. It means stretching yourself in small but meaningful ways. It means doing things that challenge you, that force you to adapt, that push you beyond what feels easy. The more you do this, the more confident you become. The things that once scared you start to feel normal. What once felt like a risk begins to feel like an opportunity. Growth is a process of making the unfamiliar familiar. Fear will always try to keep you where you are. It will tell you that stepping outside your comfort zone is dangerous. It will remind you of past failures and worst-case scenarios. But fear is not a reliable guide. It is designed to keep you safe, not to help you grow. The more you listen to fear, the smaller your world becomes. The more you push against it, the more you realize that most of what you fear never actually happens. One of the best ways to expand your comfort zone is through small, consistent actions. You do not have to take massive leaps overnight. Start by doing one thing every day that makes you uncomfortable. Speak up in a meeting. Try a new skill. Say yes to an opportunity that scares you. Each time you take a small step outside your comfort zone, you prove to yourself that you can handle more than you thought. The more you do this, the more resilient you become. The people who live the most fulfilling lives are the ones who refuse to stay small. They understand that discomfort is temporary, but the rewards of growth last forever. They do not wait until they feel ready. They take action before they are fully prepared, and in doing so, they expand their comfort zones until the things that once scared them become effortless. If you look back on your life, you will see that your biggest moments of growth happened when you stepped into the unknown. The risks you took, the chances you embraced, the moments you faced fear and moved forward anyway, those were the turning points. The same is true for your future. Everything you want exists on the other side of your comfort zone. The only question is whether you are willing to go there. Stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop waiting for fear to disappear. Growth does not come from waiting. It comes from action. It comes from choosing to lean into discomfort instead of avoiding it. It comes from trusting yourself enough to know that you can handle whatever comes next. Your comfort zone is not a prison. It is a starting point. But only if you are willing to step beyond it. The life you want is waiting. The only thing standing between you and it is your willingness to expand. Take care and be well.